Hello everyone and welcome to the Reddit Railway. My name is Victor and I'll be your driver. Today's destination is r/relationships, so all aboard! My boyfriend and I have been together for 3 years, living together for 2 years since we moved to a new city for work. About 6 months ago, boyfriend decided he wanted to work on his personal discipline and decided to take some pretty drastic measures, namely starting on NOFAP, going on the keto diet to lose weight. He was about 60 pounds overweight and giving up video games. Now personally, I didn't think these things were necessary, but wanted to be supportive. He also asked that I join him on these things for moral support and to avoid temptations. Now personally, I think NoFap is pretty silly, but we had a robust sex life together, so it wasn't a great sacrifice for me to forego solo activity. I'm not at all overweight, but agreed to follow the diet so that we wouldn't have tempting foods in the house. I like to play video games, maybe on the computer for a couple of hours a couple of times a week, plus a few minutes here and there on my phone, but again didn't want him to be tempted and figured I could stand to transfer the time to reading and other hobbies. All went well for a few months. He lost about 30 pounds, replaced gaming with working out, and while I'm not sure what NoFap accomplished, I guess it gave him a sense of personal discipline. Our already good sex life did improve even more, probably because he was more fit and confident in his body. Around mid-November, both of his parents, who live in another city 1,000 miles away, got sick with COVID. His father ended up needing to be hospitalized. His mum was not quite that sick, but still needed a lot of help and care. His job can be done remotely now, so we agreed that he would go stay with them as long as needed, and we would be long distance for a while. Thankfully, they both recovered, but it took a long time for them to be well enough to look after themselves. Boyfriend ended up being away for a little over 2 months, which I completely understood, but it did mean I was on my own for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. I don't have any family in our current city and wasn't able to take time off work to go out of town. Honestly, I didn't stick to the provisions above while he was away. I had agreed to do NoFap when I thought we would be able to be intimate regularly in person, was following the diet and foregoing gaming to help him avoid temptations. I didn't see any harm with taking care of my own needs from time to time, eating whatever I wanted, and passing the time by gaming while he was gone for over 2 months. I wasn't even going to say anything about it, figuring he would have had bigger things to be concerned about, but after he'd been home for a couple of days, he wanted to compare notes on how well we had mutually stuck to NoFap, the diet, and no gaming while he was away. And when I told him I hadn't, he was both furious and heartbroken, said I had betrayed him by not keeping promises, that I basically cheated on our life together, and that he could no longer trust me. I have apologized numerous times, but he won't accept that I'm truly sorry for not clarifying that he wanted me to stick to these restrictions in solidarity while he was away. I love him so much and he's been through such a horrible time with his parents, and I feel so awful for making it worse. We haven't broken up officially, but we are very likely headed that way. Is there anything I can say or do I just learn a hard lesson? I'm so devastated. Well, OP, I'd say your boyfriend would be justified in feeling hurt if you both agreed to stick to this lifestyle while separated, but it doesn't sound like you did, so he really shouldn't be that angry. It's a bit much saying he can't trust you. Maybe he's just overwhelmed by the whole situation with his parents. That's still no excuse for lashing out at you. I say you should try and talk to him. If he values your relationship, he'll want to listen. If not, walk away. It'll hurt, but such is life. There is an update to this post, so let's see what happened. He continued to give me the silent treatment and finally last night told me he couldn't be with me anymore because I was obviously a selfish person who didn't support his lifestyle. I told him fine, but that it was incredibly controlling to expect that anyone would just follow along with big lifestyle changes they didn't need even when he was out of town. He sat quietly for a minute and then admitted he'd been cheating when he was out of town, not just once, but with 3 different people. Said that the urge had been there for a while even before he left. Although he had a few girlfriends before me, he had never really turned heads due to being so heavy, but once the weight started coming off, he started getting noticed by women and got a big sense of FOMO from being committed to me. And then once he got back to his hometown, he had the opportunity, first as a hookup with an old friend from high school who had rejected him when he was heavy but thought he was hot now, and then with a couple of other people he met, the last of whom he also fell for emotionally. So the entire reason for the original conversation where he was mad about me following the lifestyle rules was to pick a fight. First he was hoping I wouldn't confess to breaking the rules and wanted to catch me in a lie so that he'd have a reason to break up. Then when I was honest, he used it as an excuse to harangue me and claim he was betrayed, again hoping I would break up with him so he wouldn't have to be the bad guy. So the upshot is that he's leaving and moving back to his hometown to start a relationship with his new love, whom I'll call Lisa. He didn't even say sorry, but in fact leveled a bunch of insults at me. that I'm not going anywhere with my life compared to Lisa and am generally not as smart, that he just settled for me because I was nice to him and gave him attention while he was fat, but that I'm actually a butterface even if my body's not too bad, that generally I'm too plain because I don't care about designer clothes and getting my nails done, that I embarrass him due to being quiet and introverted and because of my appearance. So at this point I know I'm supposed to say good riddance, but the truth is I'm alternating between feeling furious and heartbroken. At least he did say he would give me the money to cover his half of the rest of our lease so I don't have to move right away, and that he would leave me all the furniture except his home office stuff. I guess next time I won't be so damn accommodating and supportive, because obviously that is not the way to a man's heart. There really has to be someone better out there than this a-hole. But for now, being single for a while and indulging in all the stuff I gave up for him sounds like heaven. Fuck you, boyfriend, you're an absolute mongrel. If you wanted to break up with OP, you should have just done it. I would say be a man about it, but you sound like a real limp prick. And no, OP, being a doormat is not the best way to a person's heart. Sorry you had to go through all that, but you'll be better off without him. Enjoy being single. If you do ever jump back into the dating world and a bloke tries to pull this stunt, run for the hills. Best of luck, OP. Anyway, we've come to the end of our journey. Thank you for traveling on the Reddit Railway, and thank you very much for 6,000 subscribers. We hope to see you again soon.